Ila chindela lenywa ila muwa matinda batomu pendabye pete kabawelane jesubye ngene kabawelano ila chindela lenywa wa ila chindela lenywa ila muwa matinda batomu pendabye pete kabawelane jesubye ngene kabawelano ila chindela lenywa wa. This is the African History class, and my name, Black Rasta. Now they say until the lion learns to tell his own story, the tale of the hunt would always glorify the hunter. We have heard his story, her story, time now to tell my story. The most authentic part of the whole story. My story. The lion story. This is the African History class. Now it is most authentic. That is why we call it the lion story. Now today we're going to be telling you a story that is going to break your bones into pieces. A story you have never heard. A story that will mesmerize you. And that is the importance of the African History class. We dig out all the wonderful stories. We make sure you remember all the wonderful things that happened in our land. Today, my brother, my sister, in the African History class, it is my time to tell you this wonderful story. Oh my God. Today, we are telling you about the first woman king of this part of the world today called Ghana. Today, we are telling you a story about a warrior aside Ya Asantewa. Many people have heard about Ya Asantewa. We heard about how she led the Ashanti army against the British. But that is all you know about women fighting in this part of the land today called Ghana. There's another woman we need to talk to you about. At the end of the day, match her achievements with the achievements of Ya Asantewa and tell me who you think did more. In the interim, we want to say thank you to all our ancestors, all our wonderful warriors, all our heroes and heroines. No matter how much they contributed, we rate them all and we say thank you so much to them. Today is today, and it is a very beautiful day. This is the African History class. Now hear me now. I am taking you all the way to Akyem Abuakwa. Akyem Abuakwa is a very, very beautiful area. And everybody in Ghana today knows that area. Because the president of the Republic of Ghana, Nana Addo Dankwa Akufo-Addo, is coming from that area. Straight into history. Now, just after the fall of Adanse, which is another ethnic group. In fact, it was a beautiful empire, the Adanse Empire. When it fell, the Akyem people broke away and they established Abuakwa as their capital. They stayed there in peace under their very first king, Nana Kuntum Kununku I, the great and the mighty king. Now, during the reign of this wonderful king, he made sure that everything went right. In fact, agriculture thrived. Oh, the people were so peaceful. But the Ashantis will never let them rest. Every now and then, they were threatened by the might of the Ashanti. The Ashantis would always come over, trying to ask them to pay a certain toll, a certain tribute, a certain honor to the Ashanti kingdom. The Ashantis were almost like bullies. Even the British feared them. Remember that in 1824, there was a great battle in which the Ashanti people were defeated. Now the Ashanti people were defeated by the people of the coast, the Fantis, together with the Gans, and also the British. So many people had to come together to fight the Ashantis before they could win. The Ashantis before this time collaborated with the Gans, the people of Accra, they used to call them. until the Gans realized that the Ashantis were too worrisome. Every time war. So they decided not to support the Ashantis anymore. So in 1824, there was a battle. And in this battle, the people of Accra, aka the Gans, supported the British and the Fantis. They came together and defeated the Ashantis. And when the Ashantis went back to Kumasi, they swore that they would deal with the people of Accra, aka the Gans, for betraying them. Aden, you have always been our friends. Now that we are going to war, we have asked you to come and join us, and you say this time around you are not joining us. You have betrayed us. In fact, at that time, the king of Ashanti was Nana Osei-Yaw Akoto. Nana Osei-Yaw Akoto. He was such a powerful king. He said, we are going to the coast. We will defeat the British and the Fantis. But the people we truly want to defeat are the people of Accra. We shall force each one of them, especially their king, into the stomach of the fish called camphor. Camphor is a very small fish. I'm going to try and find a photograph of camphor for you to see. Yes, a very small fish. We will force the king into the stomach, the belly of camphor. We shall defeat these people again, and we will return to Kumasi victorious. Oh my God. That was the warning they sent ahead. Now the warnings were important. If you did not want to fight, then you would have to give the Ashantis what they wanted, like they did with the Fantis in the days gone by. Oh my God. Hear me now. But this time round, it was different. Remember how they were threatening the Akyem people? Now there was a king amongst the Akyem people called Kofi Asante. Nana Kofi Asante was a very powerful king, but he was so peaceful. He was looking for a son so that this son would inherit him. He was looking for a son who would inherit him after his death. He tried and tried and tried and tried. No son. But he was getting older and older. Then in 1800, his sister gave birth to a child. He was so happy because he believed that it was going to be a male. But it was a female. And this daughter was born on Friday. So she was called Afia. Afia. Born in 1800. Kofi Asante looked around and told himself, listen, at least I am happy that my sister has given birth. If push comes to shove, this will be the next king of Abuakwa. And that was what happened. Kofi Asante died when his little niece was only 17 years old. She was named the next king of Abuakwa, and she became Nana Afia Dokuaa. Nana Afia Dokuaa was born to a woman who was the sister of the king Kofi Asante, who himself came all the way from the line of Ofori, and her name was Akotoa. Oh my God, I am in the mood. This is the African History class. So for the first time, a woman became king. She was Okyenhene, not Okyenhene. 17 years when she became king. She had heard so much stories about how the Ashantis were threatening, how the Ashantis were bullies. So she prepared against the Ashantis. She was a strict anti-Ashanti woman. She hated the Ashantis and their kingdom. Everything Ashanti she hated, even from the age of 17. She got married to a man from the Oyoko clan of Barikesiso. Oyoko clan of Barikesiso in the Ashanti. And this man was called Berimachum Ampofo. She loved the man. And she decided that even though the man was coming from Barikesiso, she would make him a sub-chief. So she gave the man 2 titles. Esiakwahene and Nefahene, 2 in 1. So her husband was Okyenhene and Nifahene, and she was Okyenhene, the woman king. Hey! Together they had 2 children. Yes, 2 children. Nanata and Obiwom. I'm going to tell you about these children very, very soon. But in the interim, this is the class, the African History class. And today we are talking about the first woman king of the whole of this area. And she came from Akyem Abuakwa. She became king at the age of 17. And there she was. Hey, look at what happened. 1824, the Ashantis were defeated by a combined effort of the Gans, the Fantis, and the British. So the Ashantis went back and prepared under their powerful king. And he was called what? Nana Osei Yaw Akoto. Nana Osei Yaw Akoto. And he was now going to force the people of Accra into the belly of the little fish called Kamfra. Kai, he moved on from Kumasi. Although Apatakasie, at that time they had a powerful warrior who we will find time and talk about. He had his roots from the northern region of Ghana. In fact, he was actually a Dakumba man. His name was Opoku Frede. Ludo. He was the most powerful warrior of the Ashanti. He had never lost any war. Asante History stood on his feet and said, with Opoku Frede, nobody could ever defeat the Ashanti. He was muscularly, handsome, tall, and heavy. All the women in Ashanti dreamt to have him as a husband. Opoku Frede. Watch what happened now. The Ashantis left Kumasi. And then when the British heard that the Ashantis were coming, they teamed up with the Fantis. They also teamed up with the Adangbes. Teamed up with the Akyems. And they were also moving out to go and meet with the Ashantis. Kai! Watch what happened now. Now the Ashantis were coming together to fight. Nana Osei Yaw Akoto had been able to build an army of 40,000 soldiers. And he would force all the Gan people into the stomach of the little fish called Kamfra. But look, the Ashantis alone came with 40,000 people under the guidance and the commandership of Opoku Frede. The British were on one side, the Gan Adangbe, the Fanti, the Denchira, the Ekramu, the Akyem, they all came together. All these ethnic groups against one. And they met at a place called Katamainso. It was on the 7th day of August in 1826. And that day was a Monday. What? When they met, full regalia, the Ashantis were coming to war, beating up the war drums. And then the Gans were also shouting, "Awo! Awo! Awo!" They were ready for war. When the Gans are ready for war, that is how they shout, "Awo! Awo! Awo!" They were coming in their numbers. Fire for fire. Opoku Frede. Before every war, he would dance. He loved the Adwa drums. They beat the Adwa. He danced and danced and danced, got into the spirit and charged on the people. That was the point. Our heroine for today, the first woman king of this part of the world today called Ghana, Nana Afia Dokuaa. At the age of 26 at that time, on the 7th day of August, 1826, she asked the British to step aside and allow her to lead the people. Because she realized that there was no leader from their side. But the Ashantis had a leader called Opoku Frede. Fire for fire. In fact, the British were prepared. They even came with cannonballs. Rockets flying, shooting. It was at this war that our heroine for today, Nana Afia Dokuaa, was nicknamed Obabesia Oku Oprem. Obabesia Oku wa Oprem Nano. The woman who fights amidst the flying of the rockets. Oh my God. That was the first time cannonballs were used, flying all over the place against the Ashantis. The Ashantis were mesmerized. They saw a woman riding a horse amongst them, commanding the army. They saw the fire gutsing all over. 35 minutes, the war was over. The Asantis lost 20,000 soldiers. Half of their soldiers were dead. Asante himself, Nana Oseya Akoto, had been shot in his leg and he was bleeding. They had to carry him in the palanquin, running back to Kumasi. Opoku Frede turned around and saw his soldiers, the way they were all falling and the way the cannonballs were coming. He started running away. Running away. He ran away all the way back to his house at Asokwa. And when he entered his room in Asokwa, all the women saw him coming. So they all came out singing because everywhere he went to, he won. But this time round, he was not listening to anybody. He was not dancing. He just ran into his room, locked himself up, and he was just shouting, "Ah, enti Oba. Ah, enti Oba na Akyem say. Ah, Oba. Ah, Oba. Ah, Oba pa na Akyem say." Is it a woman who mesmerized me like this? Is it a woman? I never thought about this. Nana Afia Dokuaa. Born in 1800, on the 7th day of August in 1826, 2 years after the battle that saw the Ashantis crumble. They were ready for revenge. And she was also ready, to free her Akyem people from the bondage and suppression of the Ashantis. Oh gosh, the Ashantis lost the war at Katamanso. Opoku Frede was shouting, "Ah, Oba! Ah, Oba pa! Yeah, Oba na Akyem say! Yeah, Oba pa! Yeah, Rade Yankopan! Oh, Oba pa!" He swallowed poison and died. He couldn't take the shame. The greatest warrior of the Ashanti. And when Nana Osei Yao Akoto returned to Kumasi, he went quiet. He had been defeated. Hey, this was 1826. 3 years later, they were expecting the Ashantis would come, but they were not coming. 5 years later, in 1831, the Ashantis quickly signed a treaty that they will not attack these people anymore. It's over. And at that time, they gave them River Pra as their southern boundary. And this was done under the governor, George McLean. So the Ashantis were never supposed to go past the River Pra. That was their southern end, and that was the end. Today, my brother, my sister, with an army of 40,000 soldiers, and with a combination of the British, the Ga Adangbe, the Fanti, the Denchra, the Akwamu, the Akyem, who came together to mesmerize the Ashantis. The Ashantis learned a bitter lesson. Opoku Frede went down. The Ashanti king himself was injured. He escaped by running back to Kumasi empty-handed. He couldn't keep his promise of forcing the guns into the small belly of the Kamfra. Today we remember that woman, Obabesia Oku Ewo Oprem Nano. Today we remember Nana Afia Dokuaa of the Akyem. We don't know where she died. Some sources say that she died in 1835, 4 years after the treaty. She was so happy that her people were now free and that the Ashantis will never attack them again after they signed that treaty. Oh gosh, of 1831. Some said she died in 1855, but I would like to stick to 1835 as when she passed. I told you that I was going to be telling you about the sons, right? And the sons, I told you already, my brother, my sister, the sons were Nana Atta and Obiwom. The sons are still being celebrated amongst Akyem people. In fact, they have a festival called the Aban Festival. And this Aban Festival is held on the first Friday after Ojura by the paramount stool of Chebi. Today we remember you. Oh, Mami, this is why you. Oh, Oba Besia Oku Opremnano. Oba Besia Oku Opremnano. Oh, Nana Afia Dokuaa. Nana Afia Dokuaa. Uni Yaminko. Oh, Mami Waebi. Oba Okyenhene. Onyo hima Okyenhene. Oh, Nana. Uni Yaminko. Uni Yaminko. Damri fa due na mane hono. Uni Yaminko. Uni Yaminko. Uni Yaminko. It's been the African History class, and in the burden of knowledge, I ask you, now that you know, what would you do? Now that you know the story of Nana Afia Dokuaa, born in 1800, and she said bye-bye to us at the age of 35. She was only 17 when she became king. What would you do? Be an any ole mini oba fe yenzunda kagane mezaka yini. Ye ya papa ngobokaya na fifia yenyandu kaina wo. Bana ehu ebe den. Bana ehu ebe ya bate. Lele ya njima singa be kunne. Lele ya njima singa beri. It's been the African History class. And my name, Black Rasta.
Ila chindela lenywa. Ila muwa matinda batomu. Ndabiye tete kaba welane. Jesu bien ngene kaba welano. Ila chindela lenywa wa. Ila chindela lenywa. Ila muwa matinda batomu. Ndabiye tete kaba welane. Jesu bien ngene kaba welano.